And here we go. Welcome back to episode 11 with my host, the host, Brantt Myhres of UnHammered. And as always, guys, how many of you guys stayed UnHammered the last 7 days? I have, and I made a commitment to myself, to make sure that I hit a meeting because, a little rattled and I did. And I went to a meeting. I went to a church. And it's funny about recovery meetings. And I don't know if it's the disease working over time, which it always is. It always fucking is. But sometimes, you get in the parking lot and it tells you that you need to, do something else. Go buy some shoes, get out of there, go to a movie. Anything but walk into an AA meeting or an NA meeting. And that's how I felt, even though I knew I needed it, you guys. Not every meeting I'm like fucking gung-ho to go to. I'll just be honest with you. But I've realized that, that's just my alcoholism and my drug addiction talking to me, saying I'm still here. And I don't want you to stay. And I stayed. And then I went home and grabbed my little boy. But yeah, we've had some really cool people. Now that we're starting to maybe get in a bit of a rhythm here with episode 11, we've had some people, lots of people write in and say that they've stayed UnHammered, which nice little hashtag, hey? And that's great. What do we got here? So, I saw in the news that Patrick Laine, for you hockey guys, he got reinstated back into the National Hockey League after going in the substance abuse program, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. So hopefully that young man can keep it together. He's had quite the career, and I think the last couple of years, anyways, he's maybe not been prime Patrick Laine, and that's understandable. So good luck to you, sir, with wherever you go. And what else did I see in the news? Something that was sort of sad, and yet I understood it. So the Hawk 2 girl, Haley Welch, I believe her name is. Yeah. She's been blowing up, and she's been getting on all these podcasts, and it popped up in my feed, and I wanted to listen to it, see what her story was all about. And boy, did my heart break for her. As far as the upbringing that she has, she passes it off like it's no big deal about granny. And hey, sweetheart, my granny raised me too, so I get it. But making jokes about mom being a crackhead, and all that is I get it. It's a protective mechanism. I did it with my father when he wasn't around. Fucking loser. No good for nothing, blah, blah, blah. Wasn't paying child support, et cetera, et cetera. But deep down, I miss my daddy. And you know what, honey? I bet you deep down you miss your mom. And she misses you. And unfortunately, your mom's been sick for a long time, honey. I'm going to take a sip of coffee if you guys don't mind. Cheers again to another week. Your mommy's been sick, your mother, however you want to call it. And it sounds like she's in the real depths of her addiction. And, as I've mentioned, some people just don't make it back. And it sounds like she's dealing with the fact that mom might not make it back home. It's been a long time, and she's lived a life with her grandparents. But when I heard her talking about being a crack baby and laughing and joking about it, I just don't think there's anything to laugh about there. But I get it. It's not that I don't get it, because I've done it. So I'm not being a hypocrite here. I had to do it with my father, and I had to do it with my mom when I was living with Granny and Gramps. So, honey, she's sick. You never know. The light might turn on for her. Never give up hope. And as they say, I don't know as they say anything other than if anybody gave up on me, I'd be fucking dead right now. I wouldn't be talking to you guys. So again, that was what I was sort of thinking about. It sort of bothered me, but yet I understood it. I get it 100%. What else here? So we've had some questions about merchandise, and so I'm working on a cool project at the moment. And these things take time. It just does. But I've got a great group behind me, and more will come. And but the merch, the merch is coming. UnHammered merch is coming for sure. We'll get on that. I didn't order enough this time, but I will. And all you guys that have written in will have a place to go buy it at some point. There we go. What else here? Oh, questions. So put on the old blue blockers again. Had a couple good ones, actually. Let's see here. Who's this guy? This guy's name is, I won't say his full name, but his name's Kyle. Hello, I'm 3 months sober, former Division I athlete. Just finished all 8 of your podcast episodes. Just a question. Do you find non-alcoholic beverages helpful, or do you tend to stay away from them? I definitely don't tend to stay away from them, because you know what? At the end of the day, I enjoy the taste of a good cold beer, and I always have. I don't stay away from it. I know that there's people in the program that talk about it, but listen, that's their fucking program. I have my own program that works for me, and whatever works for you. If you don't want to go near non-alcoholic, don't go near it. Grab some water, grab whatever you got to grab. But me, I like a cold beer on a boat, or when I'm golfing, smoking a cigar. As you guys are going to see real soon in this project, and so no, I don't stay away from it. I haven't found any other ones that I like, though. Have you guys? Like, I love Jack Daniels. I don't know if you could do a fake Jack Daniels, a non-alcoholic Jack. What else did I like? I didn't mind vodka, but that was like a 5 a.m. in the morning when you did so much blow that you can't swallow, and you got to get something down so you can sleep. So I'd mix that sucker with Gatorade, and it fucking tasted like shit. Sometimes cough syrup too. Yeah, if there was cough syrup around, I'd throw that in there, a little mixture. But as far as I know, the only thing I've tried that I actually sort of enjoy is the beer, and more to come on that one, bud. What else? Sorry, I put these suckers back on again. Maybe I should just keep them on. What do you guys think, guys that are watching? Okay, here's another one. This gentleman is named, I won't say his name. His initials are B.A. When I'm drinking, I don't say goodnight to my daughters. It's not something I make sure I do every night. Wow. That's fucking important. B.A. I also stayed UnHammered this week, back on track. Awesome. Question for you. How do you deal with boredom in sobriety? Well, you guys that have stayed sober for, a certain amount of time, a year, 2 years, 5, 10, like me, 15, you got to get ready to fucking hang on tight. And you got to, my God, there has been moments where that boredom, it's just contributed. Maybe you just call it loneliness at times too. You could be surrounded by people and be fucking lonely. I've done it lots, where you're around a whole bunch of people and you just feel lonely, But boredom, that's an interesting one in sobriety. You've got to get into action. You've got to do something. You can't fucking sit and think about it all day long. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Write it out and put a timeline. Okay, 9 o'clock I'm doing this. At 3 p.m. I'm doing this. At 6, et cetera, et cetera. And we talked about a sober tribe. Hang out with sober people. I found that when I'm doing that, the time flies quickly, and I'm not thinking about that other stuff. So now I'm boredom. I'm not bored. I got a 3.5-year-old. Oh my God, bored? Jeez. No. But yeah, it's real. It's real. And I've just had to grind. I just had to fucking grind. And you know, this isn't going to be easy for those of you that have just started this journey. It's not. It's anything in life isn't easy. That's worth something. Is it? Anything that's given to you, do you really appreciate it? Do you really? You know, it took me 5 fucking times from the hand of God to give me a chance before I really appreciated it. Not the first time, not the second time. Somebody buys you a car, you really appreciate it for the first week. Ain't your fucking money, ain't your hard-earned money, right? But when I had to save up, my grandpa and my dad said, "Hey, son, you're turning 16. You want a car?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, get a job, go work when you're 15, so that when you're 16, you got some money saved up. And I'll tell you what we'll do is as much as you save, we'll match it." Okay, so what did I do? Well, I went out and I mowed grass, and what else did I do? I don't know. Mostly mowed grass, to be quite honest. And I saved $1,300. So when I was 16, I got my license the day after I turned 16, and I went to the city. So that's $2,600. I went and bought a 1980 Camaro Z28 with no stereo in it, and it was the best car that I've ever, at that point, obviously seen in my life. I was so pumped. It's pretty funny though, because like I failed grade 6, so I was the only guy in grade 9 driving that Camaro to school. The only one that had a license. I'd be out there at noontime, and I'd be armor all in those tires. I'd have Def Leppard playing in the ghetto blaster because I didn't have a stereo. Remember those ghetto blasters? So I'd have the ghetto in the back. My girlfriend, Brandy at the time, I'd take her to F&A Burger Bar there in Grant Center. And I tell her, "Honey, when we make a left-hand turn, make sure you hold on to that door handle because that thing's going to fucking fly open." So door didn't stay shut on the driver's side or on the passenger, but it was an awesome car. My point is you got to work for stuff. It's not given to you, and sobriety is not given to you. It's one of the hardest things I've done, but one of the most rewarding things that I've ever done in my life. Let's see. What else here? What does rock bottom mean to you guys? And what was it? Sip of coffee in the morning. What was your rock bottom? What made you realize? I shared my story about 2008 and February 17th. I just wanted to get some feedback from you guys on what was your rock bottom. And as they say, there is none. There really isn't. It's when you stop digging and you throw the shovel away. You know, can you do that? Can you throw that shovel away? Or are you going to be like one of those, curious dogs that keeps fucking digging? I don't know. But for me, I grabbed that old shovel, that old rusty shovel that I've been using for years. And I finally said, "I'm fucking done with you." And I just threw it out of the pit. And then I walked out. So let me know what your rock bottom's been. And if it, has it worked? Has it stayed? Has it stuck with you? Speaking of families, we all have our family stuff. We all have our family issues. Every one of us. And for some reason, I think mine's worse than others. It's not. You always think that, like, your problems are worse than others. Go to an AA or an NA meeting and sit down and listen. That's why you do it. Like, fuck me. My life's not that bad. It's a common theme. And it's true. But your feelings are your feelings. And mine are mine. And I think sometimes I wish things were different. I wish things were different with my family members. And they're not. And how many of you came from a broken family? that one's a big one, as Miss Haley Welsh can attest to. It's fucking scars you deep, right? It does. And what was that like for you guys? Who did you grow up with? Was it just mom? Was it just dad? Was it grandma and grandpa, auntie, uncle? For me, it was grandma and grandpa, and then a sad story for me was when I was 12. And I get a call. My dad was living in Edmonton, and I get a call, or my grandfather says to me, "Son, we need to talk. And your dad wants you to live with him in Edmonton for the remaining rest of your youth." And I was so excited. I never really got to spend a lot of time with my dad, Badger Bob, but you know what? My dad was like a hero to me. And so I go to Edmonton. I'm all excited. And as a 12-year-old, my dad worked at a carpet store called Carpet World. Go figure. And he worked quite a bit. But we had this really nice place that he rented. He got a new vehicle. It was a van. Got me a water bed. Remember those water beds in the winter? I'd crank that thing up. There'd be a fucking snowdrift right near my ear. And then what we'd do is we'd had a football, and we'd sit across from each other, and we'd play a game on who had the best spiral. And we did that for hours, and then we watched a hockey video from the Edmonton Oilers in 1985 called "Boys on the Bus." 1986, I think it was 86, and I watched that VHS tape, I don't know, 100 times. They were gods to me. Paul Coffey and 99 and Mess and all those guys, and I just loved it. So me and my dad had the best year. He coached my Pee Wee hockey team, and we're just rolling along, right? Everything's going great. And finally I come home one day and the van's gone. And my dad said, "Son, you got to go back and live with your grandparents." I lost, Daddy lost everything here financially. Couldn't make the payments. Boy, you want to talk about being heartbroken. And I was. So just another fucking chapter in my life with my family. And I went back and stayed with Gramps and Grams, and it was fine. It was great. My dad moved back home to Grand Center and started a hardware or a sports store called Myhres Sports. And so at least I got, to go see Pops. But it bothered me. That bothered me, and wondered how many of you came from a broken family, and, how did it affect you with your recovery? Okay, guys, so what I'd like to do here is we're reading up on, remember last week we were reading step 1? Thank you for allowing me another sip, everyone. Okay, let's turn up the brightness here for myself. And we started with the first couple paragraphs, remember? And for those of you that don't know, step 1 is we admitted we were powerless over alcohol in our lives, that our lives had become unmanageable. And let's add drugs to all this, please, because I love drugs. Loved them. So we're going to add it in. So we read last week, and let's continue. So the principle that we shall find no enduring strength until we first admit complete defeat is the main taproot from which our whole society has sprung and flowered. When first challenged to admit defeat, most of us revolted. We had approached AA or NA expecting to be taught self-confidence. Then we had been told that so far as alcohol is concerned or drugs are concerned, this is a good one, self-confidence was no good whatsoever. Wow. In fact, it was a total liability. Are you kidding me? Wow. No self-confidence. In fact, it was a total liability. God damn, I'm so glad we got a lot more to read on this thing. Our sponsors declared that we were the victims of a mental obsession so subtly powerful that no amount of human willpower could break it. Wow. So what's that then? What's that to you guys? Well, if it's not human, what is it? Power greater than yourself, right? And what is that? You're going to have to find it. You're going to have to find it. Not today. Not today. Not tonight, not tomorrow. But you're probably going to have to find it. Because relying on you hasn't worked if you can't stay sober. It just hasn't worked. Your way doesn't work anymore. Wow, that was a good one. There was, they said, no such thing as the personal conquest of this compulsion by the unaided will. Relentlessly deepening our dilemma, our sponsors pointed out, and our increasing sensitivity to alcohol and drugs. An allergy, they called it. The tyrant alcohol and drugs wield a double-edged sword over us. First, we were smitten by an insane urge that commended us to go on drinking and doing drugs, and then by an allergy of the body that ensured we would ultimately destroy ourselves in the process. Holy shit, wow. My Lord, this is amazing. This is step one. We've got a lot more to go, a lot more steps, but this is great. Few indeed were those who, so assailed, had ever won through in single-handed combat, meaning taking your will back and again doing it your way, I would believe. It was a statistical fact that alcoholics and drug addicts almost never recovered on their own resources. And this has been true, apparently, ever since man had first crushed grapes or crushed cocoa leaves. Holy crap, that was amazing. I can relate to every sentence here. Not even every word I can sort of relate to, but every sentence I relate to in this first step. Because as we chatted, you got to get step one is 99%. I mean, really, step one's 100, but, they're all as important. They're all 100. Okay, what else we got here? It says, do we read this part? We'll leave it for maybe next week. Yeah, we'll leave it for next week. Anyways, we'll continue next week on step one. How old were you guys when you fell in love with alcohol or drugs? Was there a time where you said, oh my God, I don't think I can live without this stuff? And for me, it was when I was 17 years old. I was playing back in Canada where the drinking age was 18. And in a city called Lethbridge, Alberta. And I just remember going into the country bar. And my grandparents drank rum and Coke or rank Coke every night. And I went in there and ordered one. And I fell in love with it. I instantly fell in love with it. So at 17, I was saying to myself, I have found heaven and I don't think I can let go of it, ever. And I don't want to. And then didn't really do drugs until later, but alcohol for me at that point wasn't if you're driving down the road and you're going down the highway and there's if a big truck's brakes fail, it's got a fucking road to go off on, right? Exit road or whatever they call that thing. Well, that was me. That was the exit road. I wanted to go down that road. I wanted the brakes to fail. And I loved it. I loved alcohol. So when I was 17, it took a hold of me. How old were you guys when it took a hold of you? And, when was it that you thought that you had a problem with it? I knew right away. I wasn't kidding myself. I knew right away. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, I can't fucking go out without drinking. I can't socialize without having a drink in my hand. And not like sipping on it, downing it. So I'm like, what the hell? Oh, grandma and grandpa, like auntie, uncle that have had problems on my grandma's side or grandpa's side or whoever's side, just people in the family, right, that you look at and you see them drinking all the time and like, am I going down that road again? So yeah, when I was 17, I definitely felt that way. Okay, so meeting Chloe for the first time. Let's get into that. So I was 8 months in patient treatment in Astoria Point, and I knew that I wasn't going to see my baby, until I was ready to go home. And at 8 months, I was ready. And I had nowhere to go, so I got to stay at this guy's place, who was also currently sober at the time. And I talked with Chloe's mother, and I said, "Hey, can you bring her to Shares?" And she said, "Sure." Well, I didn't get an ounce of sleep that night before, and I believe they were showing up at 2:00. Still remember the time. And for those of you, when you see your baby for the first time, when they're first born, it's amazing. But when they're now 8 months old, they got a little personality to them. So I'm pacing back and forth, and I see the car pull up, and her mother gets out, and she has a peanut in a whatever those baby things are called that they're carrying, with a blanket over, and door opens, and my heart's racing a million miles a minute. And she goes over and she sets the baby thing down, and I go to pull the blanket off. And yeah. She gave me a smile. She gave me a smile. Like, "Daddy, it's okay." And yeah, that's what it was like when I met her for the first time. It was just the most emotional maybe 5 minutes I've had, and then I played with her. I didn't want to let her go. But when she left, it also reinforced the importance that I did stay sober, because now I got to see and I got to feel and I got to touch what your baby was like, and I never want to forget that. And hopefully, as they get older, they don't really know, "Oh, Dad doesn't drink, Dad doesn't do drugs." But when they get older, maybe they dig in a little bit deeper and realize why you were doing it, why you did it. And big reason is because of them. It really is. Well, now that I almost freaking cried again on this show, which is fine. I don't care. I'm a big emotional teddy bear. Let's do a funny story. It's called Fat Bastard. And I write about Fat Bastard in the book. You guys see that show? What is it? Austin Powers with Fat Bastard. Yeah. So I was needing to get urine tested in San Jose. And they said, "There's a guy that's going to show up at your house, Brantt, whatever time." I said, "Great. What's his name?" I can't remember the guy's name, right? I don't remember names. But anyway, so all of a sudden the doorbell rings, and I look through the little peephole, and it looks like Fat Bastard from Austin Powers. And I'm like, oh my God, like a fucking twin. So anyways, this guy walks in, and my whole goal here at this point is to make sure that I can get my piss altered, right? So he walks in, and he's a big boy. He's a big boy. And he says, "Hey, man, I just wanted to let you know that I'm a big Sharks fan." I said, "Oh, really? No way. That's cool. Awesome. Yeah." I said, "How long you been collecting piss for?" He said, "Oh, I've been doing it now quite a while." I said, "Oh, that's awesome. How you enjoying it?" He's like, "Oh, it's a great job. I get to meet a lot of people." And as he's talking, I'm sitting there thinking, I just can't wait to get to the bathroom. Hopefully he doesn't follow me. That Fat Bastard just stays at the doorstep and gives me the cup. So anyways, we're chit-chatting for a little bit, and then I say to him, "So how are we going to do this, bud?" And he says, "Here's the cup." I said, "I'm just going to go into the bathroom?" He goes, "Yeah, no problem." He goes, "But hey," he's like, "Remember me and my son really like hockey, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Maybe a couple tickets to the hockey game?" sure, fat bastard. Whatever you want, bud, just give me that cup. So I get the cup. I go into the bathroom. I put the cup under hot water. I piss in it. Put the cup under hot water. I heat the urine up with the hot water. I walk back and I give fat bastard my piss. Puts it in his bag and he says, thanks. He said, thanks for the tickets. I said, yeah, I'll put them under your name. So I get ready for the game, put my suit on. I don't know if it was the next day. I go down and we're warming up for the hockey game that night. And I'm warming up. I'm skating around. I got my helmet off. I'm all, feeling good about myself or whatever. And sure enough, front row on the glass, there's fat bastard with his son, and he's got a sign that says, "Go Myhres, go." I'm like, oh my God. Get out of here, buddy. Fuck me. So there's my fat bastard story. The San Jose Sharks and the altering of the urine. We've got a lot more of those, by the way. So I thought I'd end it with that little funny story. Anyways, you guys keep each other accountable for another week. I hope you guys all stay unhammered again for another 7 days. And I really look forward to getting your messages during the week and your feedback. And yeah, it's been great. So you guys have an awesome day, awesome night, awesome sleep. And we'll see you next week. Thanks.